Hey guys, Levelcap here. Today I'm excited to show off the new MAS 44 semi-automatic rifle for the assault class in Battlefield 5. Before we get into the details, I've got a quick word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by World of Warships Blitz, the free-to-play mobile version of World of Warships. Click the link in the video description to download and check out this game for yourself. Now, I've sunk well over 100 hours into World of Warships on PC, and so my expectations were pretty high for the mobile version, and I gotta say it really does live up to it. The controls are intuitive, easy to work with, you learn how to play in about 30 seconds of opening up the app, and once I got online I was doing all the awesome things that I do in the PC version of this game, torpedoing enemy ships with my destroyer or taking them out at range with volleys from my battleship. It's an absolute blast to play. In my opinion, one of the best strategy games out there. You can get it on the App Store, Google Play, and new players. If you install it, play it, and get up to level 3, you'll get a free ship, a tier 3 battleship, the USS South Carolina. So check it out for yourself. Once again, there's a link in the video description, and thanks to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. Alright, now back to the MAS 44. This weapon is currently unlockable through the current Tides of War weekly progression tree. You have about a week to unlock this gun if you want to get it for yourself. It's not too hard to unlock, requires about an hour to an hour and a half of gameplay, playing mostly squad conquest and doing various achievements in that game mode. Also, DICE has apparently implemented a retroactive company coin update for, as far as I can tell, everybody. Everyone I know seems to have gotten some sort of massive company coin boost. I myself got about 130,000 company coin, which was very welcome. Now I can actually play around with some cosmetic upgrades and start to make my guns look a little bit different. Now the Assault already has quite a few different semi-automatic rifles, so how does this one differentiate itself from the rest of them? We just got the fairly recent AGM-42, which is a pretty darn powerful semi-auto rifle. Some might actually say it's one of the best in the game. The MAS 44 comes in as, I would call it, a slightly more aggressive Turner SMLE. In fact, the main thing that sort of sets this gun apart from the Turner SMLE is slightly different progression trees. Otherwise, they ultimately perform very, very similar to each other, both with a 360 round per minute rate of fire, seemingly, according to in-game stats, the same damage, although drop-off may be different. I don't know. I haven't looked at sort of internal stats of the game, but they feel pretty darn similar in terms of their damage drop-off. Accuracy and recoil feels a little different, but again, that's probably based on how I've chosen to go down the progression tree. The Turner, to me, always felt like it needed a little bit more recoil control to be more effective at slightly longer ranges. This weapon feels like it's just kind of made itself a little bit more aggressive. But if you're already a big fan of the Turner and you don't feel like progressing another weapon, you can probably get by just fine only using the Turner SMLE. Now, when you first unlock this weapon, it's not going to start off at its full potential. Like many of the other guns in the game, the unranked up versions of them just really aren't that much to brag about. And it does feel like a little bit of a chore ranking them up to rank 4 to get all the specializations to make these guns really shine. Fortunately, that part doesn't take too long, and once you have it fully maxed out, it's pretty darn nice. There's a bunch of different ways you can go with the progression tree, and I played around with this quite a bit to try and figure out what suited my play style the best. Obviously, the progression tree is designed to sort of tailor a weapon more specifically to what you like or how your play style is. For me, I ended up going with a sort of mixed progression tree, not all right, not all left. I went for quick aim, better hip fire, a detachable magazine for faster reload, plus an extra round. And then on the right at the end, I go for high velocity rounds. I did feel like this weapon had kind of too slow a muzzle velocity for extending its range out to medium long range, and that started to frustrate me a bit as moving targets kept dodging my shots. So the high velocity rounds help with that quite a bit. Now, alternatively, if you like to hang back a little bit and be slightly more passive, I think this is a very good progression tree to go down as well. It still gives you the quick aim at the top, but then instead of better hipfire and detachable magazine, you get better aiming and moving accuracy, and you also get faster speed while ADSing and moving. And so those are two pretty good upgrades as well. It depends how fast you want to reload. I wasn't even crazy about the hipfire upgrade from the left side trio. It's mostly the magazine reload benefit, so this is certainly another very good way to configure this weapon. Ultimately, I didn't find that it was worthwhile picking the reduced recoil, as I found the recoil was pretty controllable as is. When it comes to sights, I tested out the iron sights very briefly with this weapon. I didn't expect to enjoy them, and I was right there. Not particularly good in terms of visibility, and they don't give me enough magnification for me to engage targets at the ranges that I really wanted to use this weapon for. So you're welcome to try the iron sights, but I personally don't think you're going to like them. I also tried the NIDAR sight, which looks cool, but again, at the average range that you should expect to engage people at with this weapon, I felt like the NIDAR just doesn't add any magnification, and so ultimately I went for the 3x sight. I have a hard time using anything other than the 3x sight on semi-auto rifles, because generally speaking, regardless of what semi-auto rifle you're using, it should be geared better for engaging targets at medium to medium long ranges, where if you are engaging a lot at close quarters, you probably shouldn't be using a semi-auto rifle. Pick up one of the fully automatic assault rifles and you'll do much better. So if you know you're planning to engage primarily at medium to medium long range, go for the 3x. That's just kind of my rule of thumb with pretty much all the semi-auto rifles, and I haven't found a single one of them that's really made me want to use the irons or the NIDAR over a magnified optic. Now, I absolutely love playing Twisted Steel. This is an excellent map for medium range combat. You can absolutely play it as a close quarter map. It's a little trickier too, but if you've got a good medium range rifle, you can shine in just about any situation here. Plus, there's vehicles, so playing the assault class is a perfect complement here. I find it hard to argue with the effectiveness of the assault class on this map. You can't go wrong, and so this is a perfect place to rank up and play with the MAS 44 and just see what it can do at its full potential. Now, one of the tricky areas with this gun that I found a little bit annoying was just when you're at that cutoff between the 3-shot and the 4-shot kill, basically medium-ish, medium-long range, and you need to get a 4-shot kill to down one enemy, but there's 2 enemies. You can basically only miss 2 shots if you're going to get both those kills. So it can be tricky to try and get a double kill at those longer ranges without having to reload. So it can slow down your kill spree sometimes. It's not the ultimate gun to go on a back flank with and just take out infinite players. You don't have the ability to just chew through masses. You are being slowed down by your magazine capacity. It's got decent time to kill, decent accuracy at those ranges. You're just not going to be able to down an entire team. It's more of a peek, get a kill, duck behind cover, reload, peek, get a kill, duck behind cover, reload type weapon. Every now and then you'll chain some headshots together and get a double with one mag, but it's not that common. Here we are pushing the weapon out into Rotterdam. Definitely an area where I would say you start to push semi-auto rifles a little bit harder. Rotterdam is a map that can go from long range to medium range to close range in an instant. You don't always know where your enemy is going to hit you from, and so a good versatile weapon is kind of ideal for Rotterdam. Semi-autos do make decently versatile weapons for the most part, but this is a gun that will lack a little bit in close quarters. Getting the hipfire upgrade can help you out in this department a little bit, especially when running with the 3x optic. Getting those close quarter kills is a little bit tricky, especially if your opponent's running around quickly. That 3x optic's not doing you any favors, so you may want to rely more on hipfire in close quarters. But that, again, is extreme close range. I wouldn't recommend any semi-autos for their hipfire potential. Now, something that Battlefield 5 has carried over very much from Battlefield 1 is that maps and modes really kind of dictate what playstyles are going to do well. I couldn't take a bolt-action sniper rifle into a close-quarter CQB combat zone. You could try fighting in the city zone of Eros with a sniper rifle, but if you're going into house-to-house combat, it's going to be a poor weapon choice. Just like semi-auto rifles aren't going to be great for everything. They're decent and they're fairly adaptable in general, but again, the close quarter stuff is what they are weakest at, and extreme long range is what they are weakest at. So you do have a nice, pretty big middle ground that allows you to play most maps somewhat effectively, but you have to know when to switch kits with this gun or when not to use the MAS 44. If you know you're about to go do a whole bunch of building clearing, you may as well just swap it out. It's not going to do you any building clearing favors. If you're pushing up to some buildings though, and you know your squad or the rest of your team set up to do building clearing, this is a great weapon. Take out window peekers to basically clear off any threats at those medium, long ranges. Now, ultimately, is the MAS 44 a really cool, unique addition to Battlefield 5? Not really. It's a new French gun. That's kind of cool. If you're tired of using British, American, and German rifles, you can use this weapon now, but it's not really that different from the Turner. It's not going to like change the game in any sort of massive or meaningful way, but it is a nice new weapon that we can play around with, and it looks cool. I like the look of it a lot. I gotta say I'm a bit more excited for the machine gun that's coming out later in the Tides of War stuff. I think in a week or two we'll be getting access to that one, so I'm a bit more curious about what that gun's going to do and how it's going to fit into the game and change up class options. Anyway, check out the MAS 44 for yourself. I recommend it. It's pretty easy to get, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Level Cap signing off.